And away we go. It is the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail right here on BearcatJournal.com. We are live from the Cincy Light Studios. And, of course, brought to you by the Holy Grail. Go see our good friends at the Holy Grail. They will get you taken care of. They are the best sports bar in Cincinnati. They're located on the banks right across from Great American Ballpark, the premier destination at the banks. So stop by and say hello. Great food. Go get you some lunch. Or if you're downtown for some nightlife, make sure you stop by. Have yourself an ice cold Cincy Light. Remember, 50 cents from every Cincy Light sold goes back to the student athletes at the University of Cincinnati, exclusively at the Holy Grail. Support those that support us, but more importantly, support those that support the athletic department at the University of Cincinnati. All right, David. It is bye-week Wednesday as we get a little breather in football season before a very intense, hopefully, final 3 weeks of the season heading into, if Cincinnati goes 3-0, they play in the conference championship. It is as simple as that. So we have a lot to talk to on the in regards to the football front. As we put a final bow. I don't really have a ton to say on Utah, but I do have some thoughts on some conversations that have emerged since the Utah game. And then we get started on the road to the final 3 weeks of the season. I can say this, Dave. It's November. We're talking about championship football. That I have missed that. I will just say that.
Beats the heck out of whatever we were talking about at this time the last couple of years.
Basketball. We were talking about basketball.
That's true.
I mean, we'll talk plenty of basketball today, but it's nice to still heavily be in football mode. Somebody asked me today. Practice was open to the media, so we were there, and they said, "You busy?" And I said, "Yeah. You know, the crossover season is always busy." But it's especially busy when football's good because basketball's just starting. There's a million possibilities that lay out in front of you. But you can't really switch to basketball mode because you've got a team that's competing for a conference championship in football. And that keeps your focus, keeps your attention. So it's much better than the alternative.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Let's get into football, Dave, as we'll do this. We'll go ahead and do this segment brought to you by Home Field Apparel. There's a new UC item coming out Friday, Dave.
I saw.
I haven't seen the UC version yet, but just to give you a peek, it's the Game Breaker jacket. Zip-up jacket.
Tulane one's pretty sweet.
The Tulane one's super, super sweet. The Indiana one, that one, I think you can probably get a pretty good idea for what the UC one's going to look like from the Indiana one. There you see Pitt. There you see Georgia as well. Again, I think you can get a pretty good idea. Just put Cincinnati across the back. I think that's probably what the Cincinnati one's going to look like.
My hope is that it is black.
That would be nice. But Indiana and Georgia are both red, so we'll see. Either way, go to homefieldapparel.com now, and you can sign up to get the alert for when the jacket goes live. There's a timeless finish for every school on the back logo embroidery. So new item, perfect timing. Get it for the TCU game here in a couple weeks, which I imagine is
Arizona game
or Arizona or BYU. Sorry. Well, probably wouldn't get it for Arizona. It goes on sale Friday, so probably get it for BYU. So go to homefieldapparel.com, get signed up, and get ready as the Game Breaker jacket goes live for the Bearcats. Utah game, look, pretty simple. If you let Utah get up 2 scores, you're toast. You are not going to beat them. Interesting number I saw today. They've won 4 Big 12 games. Of the 4 Big 12 wins, the Cincinnati game was actually the closest.
Yeah.
Because this is what they do if you allow them to get separation. They play good defense. It's stingy. You're going to have to hit some big plays on them, but you're not going to grind them out with long, sustained drives. Their defense is too good for that. And they're just going to lean on you with the run game. They're going to run it at you 50, 60 times if you let them. Cincinnati let them. Utah got exactly what they wanted out of that game in terms of play style, the always popular, the rules of engagement. Utah dictated the rules of engagement. Cincinnati allowed that to happen in some regards. Missed field goal, fumble inside the 25. You played right into exactly what Utah wants you to do. When you do that, that Utah team is good enough. They are not going to miss. They are not going to play with their food and let you hang around. Cincinnati found that out the hard way.
Yeah, the Bearcats made some mistakes that they hadn't really made at any point in the season. And especially in that, I don't know what the newfangled term is, blue zone, low, red zone adjacent, whatever it is.
Red zone plus.
You're in scoring range and you come away with 0 points. In a game twice, and in a game that was still, wasn't over by any stretch. And, going into the game, I didn't think they had to play a perfect game, but they certainly had to play a pretty clean game. And they just didn't. They turned the ball over in ways that they hadn't typically done. They gave up a special teams touchdown. They had a bunch more penalties. You just, in a game like that against another high quality team on the road in, a body clock game. I mean, those things matter. I don't know how much they're worth, but you can try to prep for that as much as you want. But in the grand scheme of it, it's your body tells you we're playing this game at 2 o'clock in the morning. And, it's probably hard to get all those guys to rest the proper amount during the day. And then you start super late. And just a lot of things were set up against them to win this game. And then they didn't help themselves. So, the outcome is, obviously you don't like to lose by 31. But I'm not, the final score doesn't really tell me much because I've just been so in the every week is kind of its own season throughout this whole college football season, not just for UC. And you just didn't play well at all. And when you don't play well against Utah offensively, you allow them to, run the offense that literally, I think their offensive coordinator was probably just, the whole playbook was at his disposal pretty much the whole time.
Yep.
And because
they used it, boy.
Yeah, he's probably just thinking like, they're not really going to stop us. If they do, I'm not too concerned about them going down and scoring and getting this into a 1-score game. So, and especially then in the second half, I mean, that was kind of just run the ball, formation, power. I mean, they have a great offensive line. They do a lot of fun stuff out of different formations with multiple tight ends and motion. And, your best play, like, this is not rocket science. I mean, it's hard to come on to a show for you in the aftermath and for Jeff and I Sunday morning to really break this down. Like, your best players didn't play well. What did you think was going to happen?
And theirs did.
Yeah. But like, for UC to win that game, I'm not saying you needed career efforts, but you certainly needed better performances than you got from your best players.
Yeah.
So,
Bradley, they missed a lot of tackles. I don't have the exact number in front of me. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But Utah's going to do that to you because they're going to run right at you. Like, they're going to make you square up and tackle them fundamentally, especially when you give them a 10, 17 point lead. Like they don't have to, even though some of the stuff looked fancy, the end result was we're just running right at you. Like, we're going to do it in different ways. It's not going to just be we're lining up and running student body left, student body right, Dave. But ultimately, they're going to block you up. You're going to be in one-on-one in space. And if you miss, you're in big trouble.
Well, yeah, I mean, they did a lot of multi-player pulling run plays, a lot of guardian tackle movement at the same time.
Six offensive linemen.
You're just out-leveraged and outnumbered completely. And then maybe you have a linebacker, more likely it was the safety, is in a one-on-one situation, and they didn't make the plays. You know, the first touchdown, Golday's kind of flat-footed on the on the route. He's late getting out there, completed pass, but then there's three guys there to make a tackle. They don't make the tackle. You know, it was just not a very good game by the players that needed to play well if UC was going to win.
Something I wanted to ask you about. I have a lot of thoughts on this topic, but I'm going to get yours first. People that say, okay, well, now the blueprint is out. Teams are just going to play man, they're going to press, and they're going to blitz. And that is the kryptonite to Brendan Sorsby and the Cincinnati offense. Your thoughts on that?
Do all these teams play man regularly?
Right.
Do they have corners that play man? I mean, I think BYU plays man and pressures not at the same rate as Utah, but they were going to do that anyway. They didn't watch the UC Utah game and go, oh, now we're going to do something that we don't practice at all because Utah was successful doing it.
Arizona plays a lot of man, but they don't run a lot of pressure. Or they're just not, they don't get home with a lot of pressure.
I don't think teams look at specific games and how one team maybe struggled with some component of it and think that they're going to replicate that. I think they look at what formations did they use and what do we have that is similar, and how can our formation take advantage of where their guys made mistakes. You know, we're not just going to turn into, that'd be like saying, oh, UC had some success running the speed option against Utah in the first half, and whoever Utah plays next goes, well, we're just going to run a bunch of speed option, even though that's not what we do.
That's the thing. Like, you want examples of this not working? I'll give you two. Baylor, 2 weeks ago, tried to be something that they're not because they thought watching the Oklahoma State game, I'm assuming here, I don't know for sure, but they thought watching the Oklahoma State game, you can run the ball on Cincinnati. And we're going to run the ball on Cincinnati, and we're going to try to control the clock. We're going to try to keep Cincinnati's offense off the field, and that is our best path to winning. And as a result, they never found rhythm in the passing game, and they never seriously threatened to beat Cincinnati. The other one being Cincinnati against Utah. Now, I think this was for a different reason. I think Cincinnati felt like, we know they're going to blitz. We know there's going to be a ton of pressure. We know they're going to be in man. We're going to try to hit some quick stuff over the middle. We're going to try to take advantage of what they do.
Yeah, there's elements to it. Like I've always said, it's something I've always talked about on here is I'm going to do the thing until you show me you can stop me from doing the thing. Whether it's throw the ball, whether it's run the ball, whether it's blitz, whether it's whatever it is. Like, are there elements of what Utah did that other teams are going to go, well, we have something similar to that, so we're going to do it to see if they've actually fixed the thing that they couldn't fix in real time against Utah or anybody else. But teams aren't just 9, 10, 11 games into the season when everything is very much, this is what we do. We're tweaking things specifically to combat what our opponent this week does. They're not just going to start doing something that they don't really do when they have 2 or 3 days of real practice time to do it.
Right. And to be fair, what did Utah do? Because I think they anticipated. They do this all the time, right? This is who they are.
Yeah.
They know what the beat is. They know what teams are going to try to do to beat them at their own game. They didn't send the tackles upfield. If you watched, especially on that first drive, those two guys just kind of held out at the line of scrimmage, waited, and then as soon as they saw Sorsby's arm cock, whoop, hands go up, block the pass. And now that element of what Cincinnati thought was going to be able to keep Utah from playing forward, now that's kind of erased because they've already shown on the first drive, we're on to that. You might think you came in here thinking that was going to be the way you were going to move the ball on us. No, we were ready for it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, we can nitpick, and there's certainly things that I, in hindsight, that I wish I would have seen a little bit more of or a little bit earlier of from an offensive standpoint. But to the idea of that other teams are just going to turn around and be able to replicate what Utah does, that's just not something that I subscribe to.
Here's the question you have to ask: why can Utah do that? Because they've got 2, 3, 4 guys that can play man coverage at a high level.
Yeah, they have guys that they're confident in, which then allows them to pressure at 50 to 70%, and then they have one very, very good edge player and
another really good.
I mean, they run their defense very similar to the 2021 Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah.
Very similar. I mean, they have really nice secondary. They have their version of Myjai Sanders. And, it's they're not a 3-3-5 in the same way that UC was. But, the components are somewhat similar in how they – and UC didn't pressure like they do. But, when you have corners and safeties that can turn and run, and a guy up front that is a problem, I'm not sure I see anybody else that is going to be able to necessarily do that exact same thing. BYU's got a really good defense, and Arizona's got a good defense too. I mean, every team they play the rest of the way is a very solid team. But they're going to do
Arizona's got a really good pass defense.
They're going to do their thing though. They're not going to that's just, it doesn't make any sense to me that, Arizona 10th game of the year is going to go,
we're scrapping it all.
You know what Utah did? We don't really do this, but let's try it because they did it and did it well.
Right. Do I think teams that play man are maybe going to play more man against Cincinnati? Sure.
Or more, even if you don't play man, maybe it's, this offensive line has been good, but let's pressure them more and see if they, can make some mistakes, and it could be either of those types of situations.
Right. So, sure, it's everything in sports is copycat. You see something that works, you're going to want to try your version of that. But I've seen this constant chatter of like, oh, the blueprint's out now. Everybody, well, if everybody was going to just be like Utah, then everybody would have a top 10 defense. Cincinnati played a top 10 defense, and turns out that top 10 defense was really good. It's usually how that works.
Yes.
I was trying to think. I know I had a couple other things about that. Oh, the talked around about the Tawi stuff. It sounds like Tawi did get dinged up at the end of the previous game, right around when Evan Pryor got dinged up.
Oh, okay.
And was not fully at capacity. And then I think wasn't operating at capacity when they did put him out there. Especially going into the second half. I think he only had one carry in the second half. It doesn't sound like anything that, the bye week probably coming at a good time there. You've played 6 games in a row. Guess what? Guys are going to get a little beat up.
Well, they posted a picture of him carrying the ball at practice today on Twitter. So I think he's probably
he
okay.
He was a full go at practice today. But I do think when we were wondering about that, I don't think he was at full capacity at Utah.
Right. And if that's the case, you do have to guard, you don't know. I mean, they probably have a good idea, but you don't know for certain when Evan is coming back potentially. And so you really, if your main other running back is not at 100%, I would find it to be pretty reckless to just disregard all of that and continue to give him the ball in a game like that, and especially in a game that then got a bit out of hand. So I again, we're nitpicking here, but I thought they maybe went away from just the run game, not just him specifically, but 2 times the game was still a 10-point game, and I felt like maybe they veered a little bit away from the run game. A touch.
It's hard to say though, Dave.
Right, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Like a touch too early, but I said this on Sunday morning. I was like, after Christian Harrison got the interception, I think they they're down 10. They run the ball, they get 1 yard, and if they would have ran the ball in 2nd and 9 and got 1 or 2 yards and then thrown it and it was incomplete, or they didn't get the first down, I'd be pissed off that they ran the ball in 2nd and 9. That's like a huge pet peeve of mine. So yes, I mean, I'm trying not to be hypocritical and without having the context of sitting there and watching the game and going, oh, well, this play could have been this or reverse that. But, there were times I felt that maybe they could have stuck with it a little bit longer. But again, it's a very tiny thing. I would say they were pretty successful when they ran the ball on the exterior and especially with the speed options. I was a little surprised they didn't get into more of because of the pressure that they were taking on, not the quick passing game, but like the quick screen game to Manny. Like he's standing next to Sorsby at the snap. He just runs horizontal and you throw it to him right away. He's 4 or 5 yards behind the line, but he's in space. And theoretically, if they're pressuring, they're not turning and running and catching up to him. He's having to make a move on a linebacker or a safety. And then I thought the routes, I know we talked about it. I don't know if you guys talked about it. There was just a lot of 50-50 down the sideline. I felt like against the man, I'm thinking man beaters are kind of combination routes where you're getting guys to maybe have miscommunication or bump into, not pick plays every time, but it felt like it was just a lot of one-on-one down the sideline stuff versus having guys play off of each other and try to beat the man in that regard.
What I don't know about that, Dave, is maybe that did. Like maybe those were the first reads on those plays and it was covered. So then you tell him, throw it down the sideline. Only your guy can have a chance to go get it. Don't put it in, everybody's like, throw it closer to the sideline, throw it closer. Then you're in Utah's in good coverage with a chance to intercept the ball. So I don't know the answer to that. Right. I agree. I would like to have seen them maybe try to spread it a little more, but to me, it looked like most of the time they tried the quick stuff. And from being at practice earlier in the week, you could tell that was part of the game plan. It was pretty covered every time it felt like they tried to go to it. And it felt like the 3 or 4 times, hey, a guy might be open. Utah batted it down at the line of scrimmage, or Sorsby threw it into the back of somebody's helmet.
Yeah. Berkey Custom Homes 1424 asks, do we feel they didn't run Sorsby enough? I expected him to run more. I thought that if you're going to play that man and you're going to pressure that much, that was an area that they could potentially have some success. As the game unfolded, though, their pressure wasn't the amount of like the percentage of it, but they just brought like six, 7 guys a lot. And there's just, when you bring that many guys, there's not really the lanes to run through.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't fault him for not taking off more because he probably didn't see avenues to get out of the pocket or, you know, or to get upfield through the middle. So, you know, I just think that they, you know, you overload the box and there's not really a good chance for him to escape that. Maybe some more, you know, where it feels like they've gone away from some of the quarterback power that they did a lot with him last year. You know, where he would just take the ball and he'd have a running back lead blocker or
pause and then
tight end lead blocker around the edge. And feels like they've kind of, which I'm totally fine with because he's throwing much better and I don't need
they have
him
better weapons.
I don't need him doing that, you know, 5-7 times a game. But in this one instance, maybe, you know, this is all just, you know, we're just talking through possibilities. I mean, but, you know, the way that the defense can dictate what you're doing, I mean, you're not going to call those plays if they're not, you know, you don't think they're going to be successful.
Right. Defensively, look, too many missed tackles for sure. Other than that, I don't have a lot of complaints defensively. I just don't think there's a whole lot you can do when Utah's up 10 and they got 6-7 guys at the line of scrimmage, 6 offensive linemen and a 300-pound tight end, and they're throwing all the different looks that they're throwing at you. I know, yeah, you want your defense to play well in that situation. I don't know how many defenses are going to when you do what Cincinnati did and give Utah space by not being crisp, not converting offensively. Now Utah's got a little separation. I don't know defensively what the answer is.
No, I mean, I think
box. Like, what's the answer?
I think at times they showed that they have really adjusted the overall speed of the defense. I think when Utah tried to get horizontal, I think they played it pretty well.
Yeah.
I think when they decided we're gonna do smash mouth, run your ass over football, I think it showed a little bit that we're still not quite there yet from a power standpoint.
Yeah. The other conversation to be had coming out of that one, Dave, is Cincinnati's played 2 good teams. They've lost to 2 good teams. This team's actually not any good.
Look at. I mean, I could put them up against my alma mater, who for some reason is ranked in the college football playoff, and say that outside of Oklahoma State, every team that UC's played is 500 or better from the P4.
Yeah.
Tennessee has played 3 SEC wins, I think. Those teams are combined 2-16, I think, or 2-14. Like, I don't look at that's like a non-starter to me. You play who you play. You beat who's on your schedule. I don't like.
Right.
I don't do the another hypothetical win for the joke that's on Twitter all the time. Oh, it's another hypothetical win for the SEC. Or like, no, they're fine. They're a good team. No, I've never once come on here and said that they're great, and I don't come on here and I don't say they stink. They're a good team. They lost to a team that is a top 10 team in the country by basically every deeper statistical metric analytic that I look at. And they lost a week 1 game, which I'm to the point now where like week 1 results mean nothing. They're almost as meaningless to me as bowl games.
Look, after watching more of Cincinnati and more of Nebraska, if those teams played 10 times, I think Cincinnati wins 7.
Yeah, I would say 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range. I've not been impressed with them really. I mean, Patty Mahomes Jr. is out for the year, so that stinks. But no, I don't. So like, so I don't believe Utah fans were saying that they stunk because they've lost to the only two good teams they've played.
I made that point last week. Like they played, they had coming into that game, they had played two good teams. They were 0-2. Does that mean Utah stinks, even though all the metrics in the country said they were a top 12 team? But they lost those two games, so they stink. Like,
I mean, I think UC is on their best day, around the 20th best team in the country, and on their not their worst day, but like on their average to below average, but not terrible day, they're like the 35th best team in the country.
Right. They're somewhere in that window with a lot of teams.
Yeah.
They're good. They have some things that they do as good as anybody in college football. Legitimately. There are multiple things that this team does as well as any team in college football. There are some areas where they're deficient. I think if I would have told you they were going to do some things, including running the football, yards before contact, some of the Sorsby numbers that are right up there around the top of the country, his PFF grade being the best in the Big 12. If I would have told you those things before the season, jumped all over it. You would have been happy as a pig in slop, as they say, about where that meant the Bearcats season was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to to say on it. I take the games one game at a time, and they've played. They've played. One what I would they're not playing Texas Tech. I mean, depending on when they say Arizona State was on the schedule, well, when that's totally dependent on when that
Which
game.
one are you getting? Yeah,
is right. And then everybody else in the league, or a lot of the teams in the league are very much in that same boat. Kansas, TCU, UC, Baylor, Houston, like they're all kind of in Arizona. I mean, Arizona's one spot ahead of UC and SP Plus. I think they're 31st, and UC's 32nd, and TCU's 35th, and BYU's somewhere in like the teens. So the league is there's no I don't think you can say Texas Tech is a dominant team. And there's some other very solid teams, but in UC's I feel like is right in there.
Looking at the last three, is it as simple as play clean football, you'll be in pretty good shape, play anything like you did against Utah, and you could lose any of these last three, if not all of these last three? Like the Cincinnati from last year can't show up after the bye.
Yeah.
It's got to be the team that we've seen, because the margins are so thin in this league, like we always talk about. Guess what eliminates those margins? Play good special teams. Don't turn the ball over. Win field position. Like, those are all things. Penalties haven't gone Cincinnati's way this year, but I think if you're making a list and you're doing all of them but one, don't let your quarterback get sacked. No tackles for loss. Like, the checklist of things that Cincinnati's doing that are winning things.
Yeah.
Things that win you football games. That list is pretty strong. And if they continue to do that, they will continue to be in a position to win football games. If they come out of the bye and they look like they did against Utah, you got a fumble and you miss a field goal and special teams is sloppy, it's going to be a long November.
Right. And, I don't think
they're not. I guess what I'm getting to, they're not talented enough to just show up and win.
They don't have to play perfect to win these three games,
no.
but if they play like they did against Utah, they will lose all three of them. Wild things notwithstanding. You cannot duplicate that performance and think you're going to beat any of these last three teams.
Right. BYU is potentially really good. I think UC, TCU, and Arizona, in terms of like talent, they're not far from each other. None of those three teams. And you just mentioned SP Plus has them all right in a very similar range.
I think within 4 spots of each other, the three of them, UC, Arizona, and TCU.
So, that's going to be the story of how this season is remembered.
Right, because there's been a lot of, we talked about a lot of things going into the season of, I like the roster, I think the roster's better, but I need to see some things that they have not been able to do the last 2 years that give me pause as far as jumping fully on board to a significant improvement. And they've done a lot of those things already. The last part of that is take a loss and not have it tank the rest of your season.
Right. And they did a great job bouncing back from Nebraska.
Well, but when you play,
right, you had Bowling Green, which they didn't.
Bowling Green,
they didn't play great.
No,
they didn't play great against Bowling Green. And then they got the team from a prison facility in New Orleans.
I need to look up to see how those fellows have their season has progressed. Northwestern State. But yeah,
you had a little bit of room for error.
It was a little bit easier to bounce back when you don't have to play 3 of the 5 or 6 or 7 best teams. They're 1-8, so not having a good time.
Let's see, 50-3, 41-14, 49-0. They almost won a couple, Dave. They almost got Prairie View. They lost 27-24.
Almost beat Houston Baptist.
Was that the HCU? That's 20-17.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have quite a different bounce back situation. Let's put it nicely. So
to put it nicely, that's and look, here's the reality of it. I think most people 7 wins probably would have liked 8, but like 7, if I'd have told you like take it or leave it, you get 7 wins at the start of the season. I think most people would have begrudgingly said, yeah, I'll take that over what it potentially might be otherwise. But now you've got 7. There's 3 games left. If you win out, you're going to Dallas to play for your first Big 12 Conference championship. Now it feels like 8 minimum, 9.
Well, it's the going into the season. If you told me 7, like I made it crystal clear that wasn't good enough for me. But
you predicted also, 6,
right? Also having a realistic take on things and understanding how this stuff works. 7, there would be no changes at 7. Like, let's be real.
No.
But in the conventional way of looking at it, you get to 7-5 and you're thinking, okay, we lose 1 here, we win 2 here, we lose 1 here, we win 2 here. You weren't thinking, we're going to lose the first game and then win 7 in a row.
Right.
So when you do that, you then can't close it out with a 4-game losing streak after you just did a 5-game losing streak last year.
Right. And unfortunately, what that does is you lose 4 in a row to end the season. Even 1-3, I think people are going to be grumpy about. I won't be.
I won't be. You beat Arizona, you lose to BYU, and you lose at TCU. I'm like, you went 8-4. You lost 1 home game. And when we went into the season thinking, who are you going to beat on the road outside of Oklahoma State? Well, you beat Kansas. So, you lose to Utah and TCU on the road. Both those teams are going to probably finish with 8, 9, 10 wins. Like you go 8-4 in that situation. It's going to be disappointing because 3 games left in the season, you're very much in the hunt for the Pac-12 championship, but in the way of looking at it as what was my preseason expectations, and expectations change, and I get that. But I'm still not going to be like, oh, this season was a failure. This was terrible because we could have gone to the Big 12 title game and we didn't get it done. I'd still say, based on what I thought about this team coming into the year, they far exceeded my expectations. Now, how do they build on that moving forward, knowing what the potential losses are going to be? But that's for a podcast that, a month and a half from now.
Yeah, I mean, look, like the people that want to be right more than they want to root for their team already started crawling out of the woodwork Saturday night. Like, I'm mad tweeted Chad. They were in my mentions. Told you Satterfield can't coach. Like, I haven't heard from your ass since August. Like, shut up. Told you he couldn't coach. I knew it. When the chips were on the table, Scott Satterfield can't do shit.
Guys, I mean, I'm not trying to be any certain way, but that game didn't have a ton to do with coaching.
No. Not much at all. You got anything else on the football side of things? I just had some things I wanted to ask.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that the off week comes at a great time.
It does. I agree.
You had 6 games in a row. You played really well up until the last one, and it's a good time to do some self-scouting to get ready for these last 3 games. I mean, again, this is fun, man. You go into a year not really knowing what to expect, not expecting this, and you got 3 games to go to Dallas. Like, I'm loving it. That's, one loss doesn't change that, and you got your work cut out for you. But all those teams are probably sitting there saying the same thing. We got to play a good team. They've got a lot to play for, so they're going to be, hungry and ready to go.
Any Big 12? You want to talk a little BYU Tech this week?
Fascinating game to me. I still won't buy in. I mean, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. Like, I'm like, I still don't buy into BYU, but I think Tech might blow them off the field.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been waiting for that for weeks.
Their defense is really good, and it's a different style than Utah, but BYU is not built to. I mean, they did it against Iowa. They did it against Iowa State, but they're not built to go toe-to-toe with the way Tech wants to play. And if they get down early, I just don't know how they catch up without Tech making a bunch of errors.
Yeah, because that's ultimately what happened in that Iowa State game is Iowa State pooped down their leg.
So, yeah. Baron Morton, healthy-ish, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. But, I mean, he has gotten hurt a lot, and now they don't have their backup quarterback. And BYU is going to play a physical, attacking defense. But, yeah, it feels like that's a Tech game that they should not dominate. BYU is a very good team, but I would be pretty stunned if BYU wins this game.
What would a close game say to you?
A close game would say to me that BYU is very good.
It's at BYU, right?
No, it's at Tech.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That changes things drastically. Like, at BYU, weird stuff happens there.
Yeah.
But at Tech,
I know Tech's had some significant injuries. They still have by far the best roster in the conference.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I like them in that game. I like all these teams to now have one loss, and it's just a free for all the last month of the season.
Last 3 weeks of the season. Yeah, like that's how this league is going to be every year, man.
The way it should be.
Like it's just not going to be I don't think we're ever, maybe there's a year or two, like one or two teams just hit the right cycle and they have great teams and they pull away from the pack going into November. But in this league, I just don't see that as a likelihood. I think we're going to be going into Thanksgiving going, well, let's see what happens.
I watched a lot of West Virginia Houston, and West Virginia dominated that game. And they are one of the more unimpressive teams that I've watched all year.
In all of football.
From a talent standpoint. I mean, they have 70-something new players. And a lot of their best players have been hurt for a month or more. Like, they have a bunch of new players, and a lot of them are injured.
Right.
And so, from a week-to-week basis, this league just, I mean, good luck figuring it out.
All right. We'll get to... I'm sure you probably got BYU Texas Tech on your 6-pack, but
I do.
But you can do it again. I just wanted to touch on it while we were still connected to the Big 12 stuff. All right, let's take a quick timestamp break. Timestamp brought to you by our good friends at Turtles Brew. 6% ABV, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea. They have lemonade tea, strawberry mint, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla. More than 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati, over 100 in and around Ohio. How do I get Turtles Brew? You may ask. Well, it's easy. You go to turtlesbrew.com and you can find the location nearest you. All right, David, basketball season is here. We had a game on Monday night. I know you were there with BCJ Twitter Jr. What were your overall impressions from opening night, David?
Pork loin was solid.
Okay.
I enjoyed the pace. That was nice to see. That stuck out to me. I enjoyed that they shot 71% from 2. I believe that there was a tweet that is the highest 2-point field goal percentage in a game in a while. We'll just say that. I thought Baba Miller was fun. He showed a lot of variation to his game.
I'm glad that happened, because if he was bad, I was going to look dumb for everything I've said this summer. Like, if this team, I maintain, if this team is to reach its ceiling and be the best version of this roster, Baba Miller is the guy that needs to be at the head of the table.
You think that would be the reason that people think you're dumb?
I just don't like giving them more ammo.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yes, that's fair.
But I needed Baba to show he can shoot, he can pass, he can rebound, I love him getting a rebound and just go, because you don't feel uncomfortable with him doing it.
No. I thought overall it was a pretty, a solid game one performance. I'm sure there are pieces of it that will be analyzed and overanalyzed. I think probably a little loose with the ball at times, and then the rebounding probably could have been better. But I was more watching it from an offensive standpoint and a new player standpoint. Sean Abayev looked very comfortable, especially on the offensive end, being able to generate his own shot. I don't think we've had a lot of dudes that have stepped on campus and knocked down 16-foot turnaround baseline jumpers in their first game, so that was cool to see. But other than that, I mean, I'm not gonna. There's not a ton for me to like give a deep analysis on. I think the main thing that stuck out was I liked the pace, and I liked I liked that Baba was able to kind of show a little bit of everything: ball handling, outside shooting, post up moves, off the dribble. I mean, he really did kind of give you a little bit of everything.
He did. I mean, he's a really, like, if it comes together, he is a super, toolsy is the word, I guess. Like, there's very little he can't do. Post up a smaller guy, take it outside and shoot it on a bigger guy, drown a bigger guy, run some offense through him, play him in a lot of different ways defensively, length, block shots, rebounding, passing. Like, I was trying to think the other day. I really can't think of the last guy they've had that has had as many potential traits as he has.
Yeah, I would say what? I mean, and they're not the same, but I feel like Gary. Because once Gary got his game to his junior senior level, and his outside shot and playing off the dribble was so much more prevalent than it was his first couple of years. You had the rebounding, you had the physicality, then you added in the true offensive part of his game. I would think that would maybe be the most similar of recent years.
Yeah. And then you add that he's 4 inches taller.
Right. I mean, there's a difference there. But, I mean, like, there's not an equivalent. Exactly. You're kind of having to stretch a little bit, but
it's not incredibly far off.
No.
Yeah. What else?
What did you think as far as, I guess, anything that I didn't mention that you felt was interesting or concerning? I mean, I don't think there's a ton that I would point to as concerning after game one. It's not like you beat Marist by 4 points or something. So, wouldn't have anything that I would have as concerning, but what was your overall take from it?
I mean, still think that they have quite a ways to go defensively. Not that that's all that much of a surprise, right? You're talking about a team that is brand new on opening night. Western Carolina wasn't good, but they had
Court Stansberry could get buckets.
They had 2 kids. I mean, him and the number 23, the big kid that they kind of frustrated, but still ended up with a double-double. They had 2 guys that, if they went into the portal, would probably find a home at a Power 5 level, Power 4 level. So, it wasn't I think Friday night's going to probably be pretty ugly. This might be the worst team they play all year, Friday night.
Is it, what, Georgia State?
Georgia State. The former Fighting Ron Hunters.
Yeah, they've fallen far since the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Very much so, Dave. Very much so. But I was pleased with most everything. I think they had some bad lineups in at times.
Yeah,
where Wes was trying some stuff, and you could see pretty quickly it was like, uh-oh. This ain't gonna work. Like, they had the one that had I think it was Kerr with Abayev, Celestine, Baba, and Chom. Yeah, that's a jumbo lineup. Like, you're really big, but boy, that was not pretty.
No,
the ball moved on them pretty easily, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hit the couple threes. They had like that little 9-0 run.
Yeah.
But really, the only person that made nervous was Brent.
Yeah.
So, Day could have played better, but still ends up plus 24. Small sample size on plus minus. I know Killer V will fight you to the death on saying anything negative about Day, but 4 turnovers and a poor shooting night. You can talk all the intangibles you want. It has to be better. Like, sure, was it decent for an off night? Yeah, wasn't bad for an off night, but it was an off night.
Well, and you're in a game where it doesn't matter. I mean, he could have 10 turnovers, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, might have mattered to Brent.
Well, I mean, I still don't know.
I like that you've got a couple guys that can do a little damage in the post. Like, I still don't think this is a back to the basket team. One, because I just don't think it really exists in college basketball anymore. There's probably 10 guys at the Power 5 level that you're confident with ducking in, clearing out, throwing them the ball, and letting them go to work. It just doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's just not how the game is played anymore. But I do think they have a couple guys, including Chom, including Baba, if he's got a favorable matchup. If they're trying to play small at the 4, or you get a switch or whatever, I think you can throw it to Baba and have him do a little work. What I really liked was seeing Abayev in that role kind of a couple times where, okay, I've got a smaller guy on me, back him down, couple dribbles, little fadeaway, But so I do like that there's more of an element of scoring that should be available 15 feet in it. Now, do I think it's going to be there every night? No, because I don't think that's an elite part of who those guys are. But it is in their game, as opposed to what they had on the inside last year, where that was not even on the, the possibilities section of the scouting report. So I like that. I'd like to see. I know he's pass first guy. You come out and you hit 2 threes in the first 90 seconds of the game, and then Kerr doesn't take another one. Maybe he deserves a kudos there because he just didn't have one that was open that he felt comfortable with, and he did in the first couple minutes of the game. Ends up 2 of 4 from 3, so he did take 2 more and missed them. But yeah, Georgia State, former home to Bearcat transfer Eliel Sasemi.
I appreciate Kerr's lack of accessories. I very much enjoy that he was just jersey. No undershirt, no sleeve, no nothing. This is 1996 basketball, and we just gonna go. And I'm eager to see him mix it up with someone soon, hopefully soon.
He will. That's coming. Probably Tuesday.
How did we feel about Tyler McKinley and Keyshawn Tillery? What were your takes on? When I take Bearcat Junior Twitter to the game, I'm not really able to really lock in and dissect the actions and all elements of the game. So
I think both were as advertised in terms of an opening night performance. Tyler's a smart basketball player offensively. He's going to make the right play. I think Aaron said he saw Tyler set more quality screens than maybe he saw the team set last year combined. He's going to screen. He's going to pass. He's going to give great effort. He's going to get you a couple offensive rebounds because of that. Defensively, still work to be done, but I don't think it's for a lack of basketball IQ. I think it's just inexperience at this point.
Right.
He's still got a lot to learn because he's doing it for the first time. So, Tyler, I was happy with. Keyshawn, you kind of didn't notice him a whole lot Monday, which as the season goes on, like you don't want that to be a recurring theme. But on opening night, I don't mind not really noticing a freshman point guard a ton.
No, he had the nice dig out play, steal in the backcourt. But yeah,
4 points, like a couple assists, yes, that's from your 15-minute a game freshman point guard, 20-minute a game freshman point guard, maybe as the season goes on. Perfectly okay with whatever we saw from Keyshawn Tillery. I didn't really have anything negative about either guy to say. Right. And I think that's a success for your first college game. Not everybody gets to be Sean Abayev and score 18. Sometimes you just need to go out there and make sure you don't fuck up a bunch.
Yeah.
What for those two guys?
Give the coach a reason to play you the same number of minutes or more the next time you play a game.
When you're in that role and you're trying to prove yourself, the biggest thing, I talk about this every year as we talk about minutes going up and minutes going down. Does the coach trust that he can put you on the floor and not have to pull you out in 30 seconds? And I don't think those guys did anything that elicited that.
No.
So that's really what you need from both of those guys. On Buck Harris, I don't have anything new. I think if it was something bad, rumors would be circulating pretty heavily by now. I don't have any of that. Do I think he plays Friday night? Absolutely not. Even if it's fine, I don't play him Friday night. We're gonna need you for Dayton, buddy. Here's your tracksuit, and here's a clipboard, and you hang out here with us.
Load management.
They're gonna have to get him some football compression shorts, a flak jacket maybe. Kelsey said he almost crashed into her on the baseline taking pictures 5 times.
Volleyball knee pads.
Something. Because he loves the floor. Loves it.
I don't even know. I didn't even he got hurt trying to dunk it. Is that what happened?
You remember when he tried to go up and tomahawk?
Yeah.
And he kind of came down. I think he kind of landed on his wrist.
Oh.
But I think the good news there is if that's when it started bothering him, he still played another rotation or two after that. That would tell me it's probably not broken.
Or he's just psychotic and has an incredibly high pain threshold, which if he's diving on the floor all the time, I'm going to probably lean towards B.
Yeah, but generally if your wrist is broken.
Well, yes. I mean,
using it is hard.
Somewhat facetious,
but hopefully it's the only thing that bothers me though, Dave, is it's his left hand, and he's left-handed. The good news is it's not being relied on to shoot a whole lot to begin with. Hey, but what he had 3 steals and 3 possessions at one point.
I played 5th grade basketball with a cast on my arm for part of the season, so. Not sure exactly how they allowed me to do that. I could have very much used that as a weapon. So,
look, when your whole job is to set screens.
Yeah, right. I was the point guard, baby. It was my left arm though, so it didn't affect me that much.
Just used it as the shield the whole time.
Yeah, it's hey, buddy, you want some of this old school plaster cast in your chest? Back up.
I'd preview Georgia State for you, but I got nothing.
I won't.
They got smoked by Eastern Michigan on Monday.
Yeah.
That generally is not a great sign.
Spread over under 30.5. What do you think?
Close.
27, 28.5?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably. It's early. May. If you want to really dial in on some teams, this first couple weeks, these spreads are not good. So
no.
If you can find the right ones, You got a shot to clean up.
Ken Palm has 86 to 59. So 27 is what Ken Palm has. And those are usually, the line usually comes out pretty close to Ken Palm.
Mm-hmm.
27.5, 28.5.
I hope our listeners here have been checking out my picks on the weekly thread, because last week was
pretty hot.
Last week I think it was 6-1, 5-1, 6-1.
Yeah.
Couple weeks before that I went 12-5.
So let's get into what I wanted to talk about last week, but I wasn't here.
You weren't.
But I'm actually kind of glad, because I think over the first 2 nights of college basketball, it has illustrated what I was getting at. I want to feel really good about this team. I like this team. I like how the team's constructed. I like the roster. I like the increase, I think, in top-end talent on said roster. I don't think there are as many holes in the game of as many guys that are being counted on a regular basis. Does that mean I don't think there are holes in their game? Absolutely not. UC's in the, lower 30s for a reason. But, David.
Yes.
When I look around the league, and you wonder, where does Cincinnati fit? Okay. Right now, Ken Palm has them 8th in the Big 12. Houston is going to be really good, and it's going to be a team that, for maybe the first time in a while for Kelvin, is a team that is much better at the end of the year than they are at the beginning, because they're relying so heavily on 3 or 4 freshmen. Now, they're still going to be good early because they've got Milos Uzan, they've got Shaden Sharp, and they've got Joe Tugler. And they've got a freshman that is probably getting a little overlooked at the top of this league because of all the other great freshmen that are in this league, in Chris Senack. Arizona, we just saw them take down the defending national champions on opening night.
Coy Pete's pretty good.
Coy Pete is awesome. Awesome. You've got a 1-2 punch there with Coy Pete and Jaden Bradley that's as good as any 1-2 punch potentially in the country. Iowa State. Lipsy, Momchilovich, Jefferson. Great. Texas Tech. Christian Anderson, JT Toppin.
They won last night. They won last night by like 30, and half their starting lineup didn't even play.
Christian Anderson had 35 or whatever.
Toppin
maybe my favorite player in college basketball this year.
Yeah.
BYU. That's a top 4. I think it might be my favorite top 4 in the country. Rob Wright, Richie Saunders, Kiba Keita, AJ DeBanza. The heady, tough point guard that can also get you 20 on any given night. The first team All Big East wing that can shoot the shit out of it. Kiba Keita, that's as much of a do-it-all, enforcer, physical guy as anybody in the country. And then AJ DeBanza, who's one of the top 2 players in the sport.
Mm-hmm. Pretty
damn good. Kansas, I'm not sure I love Kansas. I love Darren Peterson. Flory Badunga is going to be great. They don't have a point guard. I don't love their depth still. I need to see more from some of the additions that they've made. But with Peterson and Badunga, you've got two top 10 guys.
Two of the top 15, 20 guys in the league.
Baylor, I don't know what to think of Baylor. I used to love Cameron Carr. He kind of faded into Bolivian for 2 years.
He didn't do anything at UT.
No. He kind of just...
He played like 101 minutes in 2 years.
Yeah. He had 30 plus on opening night. Like, if he's back to being what people think he might be able to be, then they're a problem. Yosefu, the freshman, the another one and done freshman for Baylor, shocker. Mm-hmm. If those two guys are your top two guys and they're playing well, both are 6'5", both can really, really score. They can do it in different ways. Like, Baylor's going to be right there. So that's 7. Cincinnati, in that scenario, in terms of KenPom, is 8. Last year, 7 Big 12 teams made the NCAA tournament. I think the league's better this year. Top half. The bottom half is going to be awful. Like, I think we're talking old Big East levels of, I don't know what this is at the bottom.
You think so?
I think, especially, TCU just lost their center.
They lost. Yeah, I mean, they might be bad. They lost their first game too.
Yeah. Do you know who they lost to?
No.
They lost to New Orleans. You know who New Orleans head coach is?
No. I know who the best player to ever play at New Orleans is, though.
Who?
Hurricane Ron Allen.
No, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
He was at D2 Xavier of New Orleans.
Was he at Xavier? I thought he was at New Orleans.
No. The head coach at the University of New Orleans, make him say, na.
Master P is their head coach?
Master P is the head coach at New Orleans. And they beat TCU.
Did they do a concert at halftime?
I hope so. Like,
I mean, half those guys are in jail, though. So, I mean,
yeah, they couldn't come to the Versus.
So the shocker at C Murder.
Look, if this doesn't work out, I might just move to New Orleans and cover them. That might be my lifelong dream come true.
I mean, who's super bad? Like, I feel like Oklahoma State's going to be much improved.
Utah's bad. Arizona State's bad.
Okay, yeah,
Colorado's bad. I think West Virginia's probably going to be pretty bad.
UCF probably not very good.
UCF's probably going to be pretty bad. Maybe there's not a team that falls all the way down to like 170, 180, like some of those teams.
The Paul USF level?
Yeah, like those were bad. But
I mean, what, every team was in the top 100 last year, weren't they?
Yeah, and they're projected. Colorado's the lowest right now, and they're projected 93.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I will be surprised if there's not a couple teams below 100. I mean, I looked at 2011, Dave. South Florida was 129. DePaul was 197. So maybe I'm a little out over my.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't think we're going to get to that level of bad.
12. Providence was 126. DePaul was 150.
You might 13. See a couple teams if things just go off the rails completely. Maybe get into the low hundreds, but the issue is the teams they play.
Yeah.
You're not a bad team is not going to get dinged a bunch for losing to a top 15, top 20 KenPom team.
Right.
So they can lose a whole bunch of games, but I don't know how far they'll actually drop because of who they're playing for 2.5 months out of the season.
There's some not good teams at the bottom.
Well, we better freaking beat all of them because we haven't done that the last few years.
I agree. I agree. But then the problem becomes, does beating them matter?
Well, it's certainly better than losing to them.
No, you're right.
So, I mean, that's the part that has always been the issue is we've done two things. We haven't beaten the teams. We haven't beaten really hardly any of the teams ahead of us, the surefire tournament teams, once, maybe twice a year. And then we're also losing once, twice, sometimes three times to the teams. I'm not even saying like the very bottom of the barrel, but like that, what now will be 12 to 16.
Yeah. Teams that are good, but if you want to make the tournament, you got to be.
Right. You can't lose to them.
So that's my concern, Dave, is I can't see this team getting into the top 5, right?
You like the games you and I talked about before you weren't able to join us. We said what? There were 7 of the high level games.
8.
If
you go,
only one of those is a home and home, and that's Houston.
Yeah, so you've got 8 games, or the top 7 teams. You had 8 games,
right?
Yeah.
History has showed us that they have won 1 and maybe 2 of those games.
Yeah.
You're not going to make the tournament if that's what you do again this year.
The problem is, Dave, how many do you feel comfortable with them winning?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you do that again, if you win 1, maybe 2, you pretty much then can't lose to anybody else from the middle all the way to the back end of the conference.
Let's do the easy math, right? You got 18 games.
Can't lose any toss-up game. You have to win every one of those home and road.
Let's say you've got 18 games. 8 of those games are against the top of the league. Let's say you go 2-6. To get to 9-9, which is, I think, the bare minimum, you got to go 7-3 in the other 10 against everybody else in the league.
Right.
It's just I think they can do that. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, especially like when you look at Ken Palm, right? Cincinnati's 32nd in 8th place. Yeah. 9th place is Kansas State at 56. 10th is West Virginia at 69. Nice.
There's a pretty big gap there.
There's a pretty big gap between the top half and the bottom half. So can they do that 7-3 against the bottom half? Sure.
Right, but you have to you haven't been able to do that the past 2 years, so you have to.
Right.
For me to think you can do it, like I've got to see it happen.
And it's just a matter of like 5 of those games are going to be road games.
Right.
So you got to win 3, 4 road games because you're probably going to slip up once at home. And you'd like to not think you are, but probably going to slip up once at home. Tucker, I want to agree with you, bro. 10-8, very doable. Sure. Let me ask you, Tucker.
They go 10-8 in the league. You can come co-host a podcast.
If they go 10-8, do you think they get 3 of those 8 games? 4 of those 8 games against the top 7? How many?
I mean, that basically means we're winning everyone. Winning all the home games and losing the road games.
And here's that breakdown.
It's not realistic to go, oh, yeah, they're going to go to Kansas or they're going to go to BYU or go to Arizona. I don't even know if I'm just spouting off names. They might not play those teams on the road, but I'm just saying, like, that's a sure, pie in the sky. Would love it for it to happen, but there's no realism baked into that take that they're going to go on the road and win those games.
Houston at home, Iowa State at home, Arizona on the road, Baylor at home, Houston on the road, Kansas on the road, Texas Tech on the road, BYU at home. There's the 8. 3 of the 8, 3 and 5. I'd take it. I'd take it today.
Oh, I would mark that down right now.
3-1 at home, 0-4 on the road. Take it today, because if you watched, the top of this league is loaded again. Loaded.
Because that means you have 3 Ken Palm probably top, I won't say 10, that might be a
20.
little bit of a stretch, but 3 top 15 wins.
Yeah.
That's been their problem in the last few years, is they've played well enough to make the tournament, but when you're comparing resumes of tournament level teams on the bubble, they had pretty much nothing to go, look at this really nice win. We know we screwed up here, but everybody that's in this situation has screwed up, and screwed up probably multiple times. But they had nothing to go, yeah, but nobody else won at Kansas. Right. Or nobody else won at Arizona that's on the bubble.
Right.
So
it's just it's a very narrow, it's and like
and we can like the roster and think the roster is better, but as you were going through those teams, we were signaling out surefire all Big 12 / lottery pick dudes.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna beat those teams, who are those guys for UC?
Look, Chris Cenac, Koa Pete, AJ Devanza, Peterson, Yesufu, 5 lottery pick freshmen. And then, like I said, Uzan, Sharp, Tugler, Jaden Bradley at Arizona, Lipsy, Jefferson, Momchilovich at Iowa State, Toppin and Anderson at Texas Tech, Wright, Saunders, Cada at BYU. It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And look, maybe there is a little bit of an opening this season, Dave, because there are so many freshmen. So there is going to be a little bit. I think that's one of the things that's been awesome about this league is the teams have been older. Mm-hmm. So other than Kansas, there hasn't been a lot of variation. Like, the teams have been, the really good teams have been really good. You haven't seen these peaks and valleys. They've just been really good.
It's certainly not like football where
right,
a team every year that everyone is not necessarily down on, but is not expecting to be a player in the conference race, just comes out of nowhere and is a player in the conference race. Like that has not happened in the new Big 12. Like, the teams that we thought were going to be good have been good.
Yeah. I just went through the top 5. That doesn't include Kansas, because I don't know outside of Peterson and Flory. But okay, put Peterson and Flory in there, 6. And then Baylor with Yesufu, maybe Carr at 7. Good luck finding an all-tournament guy on your team if you're not named one of those guys. How many guys did I just name?
Probably 12 to 15.
Yeah. I don't feel great about it, Dave. I want to feel great about it because I like the team. I like the roster. I think this is one of the better teams over the past 10 years in terms of what I think of the roster. But boy, when I'm going through that schedule, it is not a fun exercise.
That's why, I don't know if I said this last week with Keegan or it was just when you and I were talking. That's why in the non-conference, it's hard to say this, and it's probably unfair, but like from where I sit, the only game they can lose is Louisville. Because if you lose any of the other games, they're just added to the list of like okay, but not, assuming. I don't know a ton about Georgia or Clemson, but I don't think either one is some. Clemson, I feel like, is better than Georgia, but is not some lock tournament team.
Right now in Ken Palm is.
Yes.
There's a lot that needs to happen before Ken Palm is really super reliable.
Sample size is small. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Clemson is 27. Georgia is 35. Cincinnati's 32.
Right. And I just think with the way that the league is, you're going to take some level of losses in the league. You can't have another non-con where you basically don't beat anybody that anybody else has heard of. They'd heard of Georgia Tech. They ended up having a pretty awful season.
Yeah.
So, if those teams really are somewhat like UC, then they've got to win those games. You can't go into Big 12 play it with 3 losses in non-league. Even I don't even think you can do it with 2, because then you're just asking, to Tucker's point, of then you got to make up that win somewhere against somebody that's better than that'll cancel out your loss to Clemson or Georgia or UD or whoever it might. God forbid it's someone other than those 4 teams.
I mean, the reality is, though, you're playing both of those teams on neutral sites in their territory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting a loss in one of the 2. I don't know which one.
I'm expecting a loss. I don't think that's unfair. I'm just from my seat. I'm like, if you want to not be an 18, 19, 20 win team and then find yourself in the same place that you've been the last 2 years, you probably need to win all of them except maybe one.
Yeah. It's
I would not feel much different if we had Slime and Jizzle. I mean, I think the team would be better, but they're not impacting these games. I mean, they're impacting the games, but it's not like one of them is oh, well, now we can put our fist down and say we got one of those guys, like BYU does, like Kansas does, like Arizona does.
Yeah. Like Baylor does, like Iowa State does, unfortunately it's a lengthy list.
Yeah. It's just a different way of getting to the sum of the parts type.
Yeah.
And I like the roster. I feel like I like the composition and the way that it fits better than last year, but I don't know if it's truly that much different.
Right. It's frustrating because then, I mean, it feels like when you really go through it like we just did and talk about it like we just did, the bubble is I don't want to say best case, because I think, if you get to 10 or 11 wins, you're not going to be on the bubble.
No.
But it feels like the bubble is most likely case. And then you're living all of February and the first half of March chopping off your fingernails with every outcome, with every minute of every outcome, because you're not going to be able to slip. It's a tough spot.
We're getting comfortable with that.
Yeah. You want it in a big boy league, this is what the best basketball league looks like. And it feels like, Dave, those bottom 8, those 8 teams below Cincinnati are going to be fighting for their lives to stay relevant. Kansas State really hasn't been able to do it. West Virginia, they're on their 5th coach in 3 years, feels like. Oklahoma State bottomed out. UCF, good luck, man. Good luck with that one. I just can't see them ever mattering in basketball.
Very, very hard to see that.
Arizona State and Utah, they're incentivized to do it because their hated rivals are on a different stratosphere. But just saying you want to do it doesn't mean you're going to be able to. TCU, I mean, it's probably about time for Jamie, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not a great sign if you're losing game one to, New Orleans. I don't think it feels unlikely that things will turn around, but hey, you never know.
And then Colorado, I really like Tad Boyle. That's a tough spot. It's
just like, how do you? It's just tough.
I think Tad Boyle's an awesome coach.
Tough to get. You can't get dudes, man.
Right.
Not dudes.
I know
not dudes that you could take to go beat some of the teams in this league.
Right. That's look. Even in the old Big East, like it felt like there was usually a path to get to 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. I don't know how you get above 6. Like, I think if you finish 6th, you feel awesome the way this league is right now. And I don't see any of those, maybe Iowa State, like if it's just kind of he's still living off hitting on like everything the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Otzelberger, like everything worked the first 2 years. Maybe that continues, maybe it doesn't. We don't know yet on that.
Even that, though, I mean, they dealt with a ton of injuries last year, and they were still
great.
I mean, if they don't deal with the injuries this year, then they're probably even higher than maybe us.
They had more depth last year. Like they lost quite a bit. It'll be interesting to see. They have a really interesting portal strategy. Like they jump quick on a couple guys that you're like, huh?
Yeah, like the dude from Buffalo last year that was
and then
awesome.
the middle of the season, you're like, damn, that guy from East Podunk turned out to be pretty damn good. Yep. But I just don't see, those are traditional programs that basketball matters in most of those places. And it matters at Cincinnati, so you're in that group. That's not to say Cincinnati's not a peer in that. But boy, when it matters that much to everybody, just as much as it matters to you, if not, Kansas a little bit more, a couple places a little bit more, it's a fight. But, yeah, I don't want to start over either, Crypt Keeper, although starting over is good for BCJ business. It's bad for Chad. It's a lot of work for Chad. But, all right, let's wrap that up with a timestamp brought to you by Turtles Brew, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, 6% ABV. It's a bourbon-infused sweet tea. They have lemonade tea, strawberry mint, cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange, vanilla. There's more than 50 locations in Greater Cincinnati. All you got to do, go to turtlesbrew.com and find the location nearest you. Remember, a portion of the proceeds go to saving the sea turtles. Now it's time for the Cincy Light Six Pack, brought to you by Dave Simone.
We're going to start the 6-pack Friday night. Tulane at Memphis, ESPN, 9 o'clock. Tulane lost, I think, to UTSA last week, so Memphis they seem to be back in the driver's seat of the American race, but it is by no means close to being over yet. Tulane, Memphis, USF, Navy, North Texas, I think, are the main players, and it's going to go down to the very end. So this one will be a big one to figure all that out. Then we're going noon, ABC, BYU at Tech. Talked about this a little bit earlier, but we're obviously, we're obviously pulling for BYU. Is that right? I mean, I know it doesn't really matter because if we win,
well,
I guess it does technically because I don't know what the tiebreaker is if Tech beats them and then we beat them and everybody has one loss.
No, that you can't.
If Tech beats them, then they would have, and we beat them, then they would have 2 losses.
Yes, here's the thing. Do you want anything to do with playing Tech in Dallas?
I mean, not in particularly, but if we're in Dallas, I mean, we could play the Cowboys for all I care. I think it would be a rousing success, and
I think you might have a better chance against the Cowboys.
Their defense is about as formidable.
I would take the Tech defense over the Cowboys defense from what we've seen this year.
Maybe not as formidable, but
what did
should be a good game. You get the back
Mo said yesterday, getting traded from the Bengals to the Cowboys is like going from the Titanic to the Hindenburg.
Yeah.
Classic Mo.
But you get back-to-back Big 12 college game days if you're into that. You get the BYU and Tech were, I think, rightfully placed in the first college football playoff rankings that I feel don't mean a damn thing. But, should just be a fun game, especially with UC playing BYU in a couple weeks. Texas A&M at Missouri, ABC 3:30. I think Texas A&M is really good, and this will be a good game for them on the road, even though Missouri has what will be a new quarterback in, but good challenge for them. Good chance to see, Missouri's probably out of the playoff picture if they lose this game. They'd be another one of those 3-loss SEC teams. Oregon at Iowa, 3:30 CBS. I'm not ready to call it yet, but this has sneaky upset potential. I really like Dante Moore for Oregon, but the more you dig into who they've played and they
have not looked like Oregon.
It's a lot of empty calories. And so I was playing really well, essentially not throwing the ball at all. And at home, the defense is going to play well. The special teams is going to play well. I think this could be a sneaky one for Oregon. They certainly could lose this game. Navy at Notre Dame, 7:30 NBC. This doesn't affect Navy from the AAC race, but if they were to win this game, it would I think it would definitely give them the best win of the G5s. So if it came into it, because right now there's no G5 team in the rankings, which means that they just they continue the rankings past 25. If that were to be the case at the end of the year, they would continue the rankings past 25 until they got to a G5 team, regardless of who won the American. It wouldn't matter if none of them were ranked. So Navy having to win over Notre Dame, I feel like would probably help their cause greatly. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're pretty good, and Blake Horvath is a really good quarterback, and should be a fun game to watch. And then for the degenerates, San Diego State at Hawaii, 11 o'clock. I believe Spectrum. So I don't even know if you get this game if you don't have Spectrum. It just said SPEC. So I'm going to assume that's Spectrum, but who the heck knows? I've found Mountain West games on Amazon Prime this year. But San Diego State, with Sean Lewis coming over from Kent State via Colorado, I think they're one loss, playing really well. Hawaii, you always got to shout out to Tokyo Toe. Great kicker. I think they're 6-2. San Diego State might be 6-1 or 7-1. So should be a fun, late nighter if you're wanting to stay up super late and watch some West Coast football.
If you can find it.
If you can find it. And for those YouTube TV folks like myself who are, getting screwed out of games right now, you can do a Sling Day Pass for $5.99. Doesn't give you everything, but it will give you the main ESPN and the ABC games. Or I think even you can do a Fubo or Fubo. But that one, it's free, but you've got to cancel it. So you got to remember to cancel it. And that's giving ESPN money because they own that. So, if you're like me and you don't want those bastards to have any of your money, I did the Sling thing. I actually really liked Sling's interface. You can watch an almost full screen game with a scoreboard down the right side, and then you can just go over there to pick what game you want to go to, and that way you can see the status of a bunch of all the other games that are going on at the same time.
Very cool.
So, if you don't want to cave, but $5.99, I thought it was worth it last week. Obviously, because I had to watch the UC game. This week I might not. This week I might not do it just because I don't have to. There's no game that I have to view.
Will you go to an establishment like if you don't have a game you need to watch? Since I know you don't like establishments like when you're paying attention.
Yeah, sure. I have no issues when I have no rooting interest.
Will you this weekend?
I don't know. I do have a Roosters gift card that I could use, so maybe.
Just maybe pick a game. Go like at halftime of a window.
Yeah.
Halftime of the 3:30 window. Get you some dinner or go.
I know they have DirecTV, so.
Most of the bars, that's what most of the bars rock with, DirecTV. All right, I think that's going to be it, David. It has been a pleasure enjoying a bye week with you.
Yes.
A lot of good conversation tonight. A lot of good discussion of different stuff that's going around the fan base. I like being able to. We don't get to do that a whole lot because this is more of a newsy show. So we just kind of dig into the games and the topics surrounding that. But I like getting a little breather and being able to talk about some of the stuff that the fan base is talking about.
That's right.
It's going to wrap it up. We will see you next week. This is the Nightcap, or excuse me, this is the BCJ Podcast. Oof, I'm still on cold medicine. It's the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by the Holy Grail, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.